I think the next thing to understand about the buying process is what you'd actually like in the caravan itself. We know what you're comfortable towing with, and we know what your tow car can tow. What else would you like in the caravan itself? Now that can range from you definitely want a fixed bed, you're not worried about an end washroom, you'd really like Alde heating, or a big tall fridge freezer with a separate freezer compartment. The list can be fairly endless. Now, some of these criteria will be fixed. Like I said, the weight may well be fixed. If you can only legally tow 1500 and you don't want to go above that, then that's a fixed criteria. So there's no point looking at 2-ton caravans if you can only tow 1500. Budget can be another criteria which is fairly fixed. I do find that when a customer comes in with an idea of what they want to spend, it is flexible to a degree. But again, there's no point if you want to spend £10,000 looking at a £35,000 new caravan. So some of the things are flexible. So you can add things. So say you really wanted a motor mover and your ideal caravan hasn't got a motor mover on it. Well, of course, you can fit one. You just have to allow that in the budget. And there's quite a few things that you can fit. So you've got motor movers, solar panels, even gas barbecue points and things like that you can fit. So don't worry too much about those kind of things, but the main criteria are the ones that you can't change. So you've got your layout choices and weights and things like that. So what I tend to do with a customer is try and find out what those fixed ones are, and you can do that yourself. So if you get a list of the things that you really must have and you cannot deviate on, and then work down the list and then add things that you'd really like. So you'd like an Alde heating system. Now, sometimes I get customers that are fixated on something like that, only to discover that they're never going to see the benefit of it. So in the next set of videos, what I will do is go through these criteria individually and go through the pluses and minuses and kind of talk about real world usage of them. And you may find that you don't need that Alde heating system. You may find that what's the point of having an end washroom if you're going to use the facilities on site all the time. So once you've seen those videos, you can then maybe alter the criteria list to kind of get to the point where you're happy with the things that you want. And the shorter the criteria list, the easier it is to find a caravan. So if you've got a list as long as your arm, it can be difficult to actually find the right caravan for that particular customer. And that's where this word compromise comes in. So if you find an absolutely perfect caravan, but it hasn't got a big fridge freezer in it, but you really wanted one, then you can think, well, do I really need that big fridge freezer? The rest of the caravan's absolutely spot on. I can live without that. So that's the kind of thing that you'll do when you're out in the field looking at caravans, and the salespeople will kind of show you different variations on the theme that you wanted. But it is important to know some of these things, because otherwise you'd just be looking at the whole market and you'll never get anywhere. So I think that's the next thing to do is have a look at the next set of videos and then go through each individual criteria and find out whether you want it or not, and then just write it down and think, yes, I'd like that, or no, I'm not too worried about that. And then hopefully by the end of that list, you will then start to see a picture of your ideal caravan emerging.